The Geet Ruler episode number 113 explanation. Thank you. Thinking back, this was the first time that Mu Chen had heard Wen Qingxian say such gentle words towards him, causing him to instantly gawk upon hearing her. In the past, regardless of the situation, Wen Qingxian had always appeared like a phoenix standing high in the skies, with her beautiful eyes brimming with soul-stirring arrogance. This was especially true when faced against the opposite gender, when her strength and unwillingness to admit defeat would be displayed to the extreme. Therefore, faced against this absolutely stunning figure before him, Mu Chen clearly wasn't feeling quite at ease. Nevertheless, his stunned state didn't last too long, before noticing the familiar prideful smile appearing on Wen Qingxuan's exquisite face. Flinging a look at Mu Chen, she replied, "You're too disappointing to come over to do the hero saves the beauty act with such little ability. Don't put yourself in the role of a hero." Mu Chen could not help twitching the corner of his mouth upon hearing that. Staring at this discriminating girl with an ill gaze, an impulsion of wanting to arrange an array and tossing her into it seemed to gush within him. Spotting the ill gaze coming from Mu Chen, the beautiful smile present on Wen Qingxuan's exquisite face grew even more sweet, before turning her eyes around. Looking straight towards the ashen and dark-faced Xiao Huang, the smile on her face started to slowly dissipate away, with a soul-chilling cold replacing it. Looking at the chilling face of Wen Qingxian, Xiao Huang could not help letting a shiver shake through his body. Outside of the heaven-binding spiritual array, everyone immediately cast sympathetic gazes towards Xiao Huang and his group, as they were able to clearly feel the flames of fury concealed underneath Wen Qingxuan's ice-cold face. Looking towards Mu Chen, Wen Qingxian spoke in a soft voice, "Can you let me handle him from here on, Mu Chen?" Shooting a look at Wen Qingxian, he was able to spot the dense flames of fury present within those soul-stirringly beautiful eyes. Nevertheless, he shook his head and replied, "This spiritual array's not simple. Since you're not an expert in spiritual arrays, it would consume an extreme amount of your strength, even if you were to break it. Therefore, you should conserve your strength to deal with those troubling matters that will happen after this. They won't be any simple matters to deal with." Xiao Huang and his Academy alliance were indeed extremely strong. Nevertheless, though, they weren't that strong to the level of daring to challenge Wen Qingxian. However, from the looks of it, they had truly dared to take action. Mu Chen would absolutely not believe that anyone would say there wasn't anything strange in this place. Mu Chen's words contained a deeper meaning within them, causing a tremble to shake through Wen Qingxuan's heart. Nevertheless, knitting her slender and crescent moon-like eyebrows, she slightly moved her red lips. Although Mu Chen was a spiritual array master, she was extremely clear about how formidable Xiao Huang's heaven-binding spiritual array was. From the looks of it, without talking about Mu Chen, even she would have to pay some price to break it apart. Therefore, faced against such a formidable spiritual array, even Mu Chen would feel rather pained to deal with it. By the off chance that she was to make a miscalculation, it would become a matter of them losing face. Although Wen Qingxian would usually not give any face to Mu Chen, under the attentive gazes of everyone in the surroundings, she did not wish for Mu Chen to lose face in such a manner. "Could it be that you're actually worried about me losing face?" Mu Chen seemed to be able to spot the thoughts swirling within Wen Qingxuan's gaze, causing him to raise his eyebrows in response. Giving a laugh, he raised his head to look towards Xiao Huang in the distance while saying, "However, don't worry. Since I've said those words, I naturally have my assurance. Although his heaven-binding spiritual array isn't weak, I'm afraid that he doesn't have the qualifications to trap me." As he said those words, a smile surfaced on Mu Chen's face. This wasn't a smile of satisfaction, but arcs of confidence. One had to say that his smile possessed a considerable amount of charisma and charm. "As if I care about you dying or not." Looking at the smile present on Mu Chen's handsome face, a faint ripple appeared within Wen Qingxuan's beautiful eyes. Nevertheless, turning her gaze away upon spotting Mu Chen looking over, she slightly flung her red lips, before replying, "You males always love to show off. Okay. Seeing that you've ran such a long way to help me, I won't snatch this from you. You better hurry up and deal with this lousy array. I'm already unable to endure wanting to give that fellow a heavy beating," said Wen Qingxian as she waved her hand. Hearing that, Mu Chen gave a laugh and stopped continuing to speak. Slowly walking forward, his gaze grew increasingly cold and fierce, before it locked right on Xiao Huang. Seeing Mu Chen's actions, Xiao Huang instantly knew what Mu Chen wanted to do. This caused a shadow of fury to flash within his eyes as he sneered, "What's the matter? Having a person to support you has given you quite a bit of confidence, is it?" "I'm just gunning for those 20,000 points," replied Mu Chen with a smile. "I'm afraid that you don't have the ability to back that up." Noticing the ice-cold expression present on Wen Qingxuan's exquisite face, dread and fear appeared within his eyes as he roared back in reply, "It's best that you two take action together. Wanting to break my array by yourself is nothing but nonsense." An ambiguous smile appeared on Mu Chen's face as he looked towards Xiao Huang and replied back, "If you're afraid, just say so. There's no need to use such words to provoke us. However, fret not. I, myself, am more than enough to break your array." "Such shameless boasting. I really want to see exactly what ability you have to back up your words." A faint sparkle appeared within Xiao Huang's eyes, while a chilling shadow of happiness flashed within. From the looks of it, their academy alliance already possessed no advantages left. If Mu Chen had collaborated with Wen Qingxian, even with his heaven-binding spiritual array, it was simply impossible for him to hold them back. Fortunately, though, that rampant Mu Chen fellow had actually dared to make such a bold claim. If he was able to capture Mu Chen, they would hold the advantage in this situation once again. Mu Chen gave a laugh in response, naturally knowing what Xiao Huang was thinking in his mind. Nevertheless, without speaking any more words, he slowly clenched his hands tightly. Black lightning started to abruptly gush from his body, crackling as they encased his entire body. At this moment, exceedingly tyrannical energy fluctuations started to radiate from his body. As the black lightning continued to condense together, they seemed to congeal into what seemed like a lightning liquid, before slowly flowing around the surface of Mu Chen's body. This caused Mu Chen to appear akin to a lightning god standing within the lightning, possessing extraordinary might and power. At this moment, Xiao Huang could also sense the tyrannical fluctuations radiating from Mu Chen's body, causing him to narrow his eyes. Not daring to show any more neglect, with a change of his hand seal, boundless spiritual energy howled from within the heaven-binding spiritual array. As the spiritual energy formed giant snakes appeared once again, they hissed and flicked their tongues while coldly glaring at Mu Chen. Raising his head, Mu Chen extended his feet, before fiercely stomping the ground. Boom! As the sole of his feet landed on the ground, spider web-like cracks immediately extended out rapidly. The heavy force present by his stomp appeared to have caused even the entire mountain to tremble. Bang! As the ground shook, Mu Chen's figure explosively shot out in a spectre-like fashion, while the black lightning present on his body crazily sparkled. At the same time, his black and white fusion spiritual energy started to gush forth akin to a flood. Following his successful crossing of his spiritual energy disaster, the spiritual energy present within Mu Chen's body had undergone a drastic increase in quantity. Coupled with his fleshly body, the amount of power he could erupt with was something that was even comparable to experts in the realm of the first level of their spirit disaster. Mu Chen activated his power to his maximum might. Not choosing to recklessly launch an assault, he shot straight towards a certain location of the heaven-binding spiritual array. That was precisely one of the three possible locations where the central area might be. Being a spiritual array master, Mu Chen was naturally clear that forcefully breaking a spiritual array apart would be the most stupidest decision. Only by finding the central area of the spiritual array would one be able to break it in the easiest fashion. You truly are dreaming if you want to break the central area of my heaven-binding spiritual array. Upon seeing Mu Chen's actions, Xiao Huang's expression instantly sunk, before turning into a sneer. With a wave of his sleeve, dozens of gigantic 100-meter-long spiritual energy-formed giant snakes split apart the air as they swept towards Mu Chen without the slightest bit of mercy. Bang! Bringing along boundless spiritual energy, Mu Chen sent a fist rumbling out, causing black lightning to explode the air, before smashing against the bodies of those spiritual energy-formed giant snakes. Bang! Bang! As the lightning howled out, it instantly shattered multiple spiritual energy-formed giant snakes. However, those spiritual energies started to condense together in an extremely quick fashion. As they did so, they transformed back to their initial form of giant snakes before crazily rushing forth once again. Bang! Astonishing shock waves wreaked havoc as they swept out from the collisions between the black lightning and the giant snakes, causing the entire mountain range to endlessly shake. Seeing such a confrontation of attacks, when Xuan's eyebrows started wrinkling up. Being able to activate all of the spiritual energy within his heaven-binding spiritual array, Xuan was not one bit afraid of the possibility of him consuming his strength. However, why would Mu Chen choose such a head-on confrontation? If this continued, it wouldn't do any good for Mu Chen. Seeing Mu Chen shatter one of his spiritual energy-formed giant snakes after another, Xuan was not one bit flustered. On the contrary, a sliver of ridicule surfaced within the depths of his eyes. He knew that if he continued this, Mu Chen would definitely suffer a defeat within his spiritual array. Since you're so happy killing my snakes, I'll add a bit more difficulty for you. Xiao Huang's ridiculing voice softly rang out, before proceeding to give a flick of his finger. In the next instant, spiritual energy suddenly condensed towards the flick direction, transforming into dozens of giant snakes, their giant tails starting to smash down akin to falling meteors. Bang! Still not falling back, Mu Chen sent a fist out, rumbling heavily towards those spiritual energy-formed giant snakes. In the next instant, frightening spiritual energy fluctuations exploded, the shock waves instantly formed, sending him flying back. Such was the impact that signs of disorder even appeared in the spiritual energy fluctuations radiating from his body. Seeing this, the faces of Xu Huang and the others standing outside of the heaven-binding spiritual array grew taut. What a fellow, he doesn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. Seeing this, Xiao Huang could not help deepening the chilling smile present at the corner of his mouth. Whoosh! However, this smile didn't continue for long as his pupils furiously contracted. That's because he noticed Mu Chen making a sudden turnaround, rushing straight towards the western side of his spiritual array. Spiritual light radiated from the air present there, with array patterns being concealed behind the bright and resplendent spiritual light. That place didn't seem eye-catching at all. However, Xiao Huang's expression instantly turned ugly, while shock and horror gushed from his eyes. That's because Xiao Huang knew that that was the place where the true central area of his spiritual array lied. However, he never expected Mu Chen to have actually long discovered where its location was. He had purposefully launched a fierce offensive in another direction for the sake of lowering Xiao Huang's guard. Whoosh! While Xiao Huang's face violently contorted, he hastily activated the might of his spiritual array, only for giant spiritual energy-formed snakes to instantly rush in a crazily pursuit of Mu Chen. However, relying on the element of surprise, Mu Chen had already appeared before the array pattern sparkling with spiritual light. In the next instant, an ominous glowing pillar rushed towards the sky from the top of his head. As a gigantic demonic pillar appeared in a flash, Mu Chen gave an illusionary hug before him. Without the slightest bit of hesitation, he grasped onto the demonic pillar, before violently swinging it down on the spiritual light below. Seeing this, Xiao Huang's face instantly turned deathly pale. As he waved the demonic pillar down, Mu Chen's indifferent-sounding voice rang out alongside whooshing sounds of air being split apart. After suffering losses 2 times in a row, you truly are extraordinarily stupid. I'm sorry. From the looks of it, those 20,000 points are mine now. Bang! Bringing about an ominous aura that blotted the skies, the demonic pillar rumbled down, before finally heavily smashing on the top of the array patterns glowing with spiritual light. Bang! The gigantic demonic pillar brought about a billowing baleful aura as it violently smashed against the spiritual array sparkling with dazzling spiritual light. As the two smashed against each other, astonishing spiritual energy fluctuations instantly swept out. Bang! Bang! As fluctuations swept out, even the air around it was sent exploding apart, sending deep muffled rumbles ringing continuously within people's ears. Spiritual energy crazily gushed out within the spiritual array as it attempted to defend against the assault from the demonic pillar. However, due to it having used the absolute might of its strength to attack Mu Chen earlier, it was unable to muster its entire might to muster its defenses. A fervent sparkle flashed within Mu Chen's eyes as he sensed a boundless attack crazily sweeping out from behind him. Fueled by his rage, Xiao Huang had activated all of the might of his spiritual array in an attempt to launch an attack towards him. However, at this very moment, Mu Chen clearly couldn't fall back. If he did, the heaven-binding array would fall into the complete control of Xiao Huang once again. After suffering the earlier losses, the latter would absolutely activate a gigantic amount of spiritual energy to protect the central area of his spiritual array. When that happens, it would undoubtedly add difficulty for Mu Chen if he still wanted to break the spiritual array. Therefore, at this very moment, he absolutely couldn't get frightened into retreating from the terrifying attack coming from his back. As an ominous glint flashed across Mu Chen's eyes, a baleful aura started to crazily condense within their depths. A low roar fiercely rang out from his mouth, only for the gigantic body of the great Meru demonic pillar to inflate by a notch. Azura-like roars ringing from the purgatory seemed to resound from it as killing intent gushed from it, blotting the skies. "Break for me!" An explosive roar rang from Mu Chen's mouth like the roar of thunder as the great Meru demonic pillar smashed down once again. Crack! As Mu Chen activated his lightning god's physique to the extremes, he had also pushed the circulation of the spiritual energy within his body to the very limit. In fact, he had also pulled out the great Meru demonic pillar. Using such a ominous weapon to launch such a frightening attack, even the heaven-binding array would not to be able to endure it. As the demonic pillar descended, cracks started to extend like a spider web. At this moment, the heaven-binding array was on the verge of collapse. Bastard! At this moment, Xia Huang could no longer remain calm, his face turned ashen as he roared in a fierce voice. With a change of his hand seal, a mouthful of blood essence spewed from his mouth. As this mouthful of blood essence shot out, the dozens of gigantic spiritual energy-formed snakes chasing behind Mu Chen suddenly raised their heads and howled towards the skies, before devouring that blood essence. In the next instant, a bloody light erupted from their bodies, before starting to fuse together at an astonishing rate. As spiritual light blossomed, a colossal snake approximate 1,000 meters long appeared. As the gigantic snake hovered in the air, its shadow enveloped a radius spanning a couple dozen 100 meters. Under its shadow, even the giant mountain peak started to tremble. Clearly, Xiao Huang had been forced to a point of complete fluster by Mu Chen. Whoosh! As the colossal snake took shape, it flung its gigantic tail about while it penetrated through space. Akin to a fierce divine spear that was impossible to block, it was thrust straight towards the back of Mu Chen at lightning speed. Such speed caused others to feel unfeigned palpitations in their hearts. Upon seeing this, a faint change appeared on Luo Li's exquisite face. Tightly clenching her Luo god sword, she took a half-step forward. However, just as she did that move, Xiao Wang, standing not far away, immediately drew his giant flaming bow. Scarlet flames rose at the arrow tip, causing distortions in the surrounding space. He aimed the tip of his arrow right towards Luo Li, but he did not release the bowstring. However, once the latter took any strange actions, he would immediately take action to obstruct her. Although Xiao Wang knew how extremely formidable the girl, Luo Li, standing before him was, he still possessed some confidence in his capability to stop the latter if he was to take complete action. Although she shot a frosty look at Xiao Wang with her beautiful eyes, Luo Li did not take action. Rotating her eyes around, she looked straight right into the storm-filled spiritual array. Bang! The pressure that came from behind was similarly detected by Mu Chen. However, not a single bit of panic was present in his eyes. On the contrary, it was filled with a chilling shadow. Bang! Staring at the spiritual array before him, the extension of the cracks grew increasingly rapid. Whoosh! The whooshing sounds ringing from behind rang ear-piercingly within Mu Chen's ears, whilst piercing pain faintly radiated from his back. Everyone immediately raised their attentiveness, their eyes not even blinking one bit. Break! Taking a half-step forward, a chilling glint sparkled within his black eyes as the demonic pillar violently descended. Crack! Crack! The heaven-binding array, which had already reached its limits, was finally unable to endure such an assault. As the cracks exploded apart, a clear sound finally extended and perfused across the entire spiritual array at an astonishing rate. Bang! As spiritual light explosively blossomed, the spiritual energy instantly exploded apart. Incomparably powerful spiritual energy shock waves swept out like a hurricane, while a violent tremble shook through Mu Chen's body. Whoosh! Exceedingly fierce whooshing sounds rang from behind Mu Chen's back, the robes behind him quietly split apart. However, just as the sharp divine spear-like snake tail had shot right at Mu Chen's back, it abruptly froze, while the boundless spiritual energy originally present in it immediately dissipated away. At this instant, the colossal snake exploded apart, transforming into glowing spiritual energy dots that blotted the skies. At that instant the colossal snake, which was originally enveloping and about to suppress Mu Chen, had instantly dissipated completely. The glowing dots that blotted the skies descended from around him, appearing exceedingly magnificent. This spectacle caused everyone present to let out uncontrollable breaths of relief, as if a heavy weight was lifted off their shoulders. Although the one that had received the attack wasn't them, the suppressive feeling from the depths had made them somewhat unendurable. While they took breaths of relief, everyone looked at the thin figure standing within the glowing dots that blotted the skies. Exclamations of admiration surfaced within the eyes of quite a few people. Who would have guessed that Mu Chen would actually rely on his own strength alone to destroy the spiritual array that was thorny for even someone like Wen Qingxian? Truly worthy of the blood calamity. Standing in the distance as he took in this spectacle, a faint smile appeared on the face of Wu Ling looking at the figure of the youth, a heavy regard brimmed within his eyes. When Mu Chen was ousted halfway during the spiritual road, it was undoubtedly an extremely heavy blow towards him, as this had seemingly stopped the 1+ year of training that was extremely important to him. In the eyes of people with talent like him, this year of bitter training was more than sufficient to toss other people far, far behind. With Ling was originally worried that Mu Chen would receive a serious injury from doing so. If that happened, it was inevitable that he would lose an opponent that he treated with high regard. However, from the looks of it, in the end, Mu Chen's truly the Mu Chen he knew. Looks like there will indeed be a good show to watch in this great spiritual academy tournament, muttered Wu Ling. As of now, there was no one that could obstruct the path of Ji Xian. Similarly though, Mu Chen's momentum wasn't weak. With the extremely deep grudges and grievances between the two of them, there would definitely be a huge battle if they were to bump into each other. Furthermore, if these two similarly dazzling people were to bump into each other, even people like Wu Ling would feel curious in anticipation to the spectacle that would happen. However, the matter today might not be that simple. Other than that fellow, who could have such a way to cause those few fellows to take action together? A deep intent glowed within the eyes of Wu Ling as he swept his gaze out towards a few locations. After quietly pausing for a moment, an ambiguous glow sparkled within his eyes. Puff. Within the air, Xiao Huang stared blankly as his spiritual array broke apart, while paleness gushed from his face. Instantly, a mouthful of blood fiercely spewed out as he staggered back multiple steps. The spiritual energy within his body appeared to be in much chaos and disorder. Clearly, he had suffered quite a bit of injury due to his spiritual array being broken. That's not possible. Xiao Huang didn't bother about the bloodstains at the corner of his mouth, only blankly looking at the broken spiritual array before him. At this moment, a feeling of inconceivably gushed from his eyes. He was somewhat unable to believe that his powerful spiritual array, which was more than sufficient to trap an expert of first-grade spirit disaster to death, would actually be destroyed by a person with a cultivation merely at the realm of spiritual energy disaster. From the looks of it, your spiritual array isn't as strong as you think. Turning his body around, Mu Chen looked right towards the pale-faced Xiao Huang as he spoke with a faint smile. Xiao Huang locked his stare right at Mu Chen, his eyes appearing fierce and malicious akin to a wolf. However, as of now, an additional shadow of extreme dread was present within. With his spiritual array that he had meticulously arranged being broken, he was forced to truly regard Mu Chen with seriousness. Since you've lost, according to our bet, you should hand over your 20,000 points honestly, said Mu Chen as he sent a smile towards Xiao Huang. Hearing that, Xiao Huang's face slightly twitched as a cold and dark shadow appeared within his eyes. From the looks of it, you indeed aren't willing to admit your defeat. Seeing Xiao Huang's actions, Mu Chen shrugged his shoulders in slight helplessness. Panning his head across to Wen Qingxian, he said, "I'll leave the rest to you." Hearing that, Wen Qingxian nodded her ice-cold face. Turning her beautiful eyes towards Xiao Huang, her jade-like hands tightly gripped her golden war spear, while faint killing intent flashed within her long and narrow phoenix-like eyes. Seeing this, Xiao Huang's face instantly changed as he retreated 2 steps back, his eyes brimming with vigilance and dread. Seeing Xiao Huang's reaction, Mu Chen could not help shaking his head, his voice cold and indifferent as he said, "Xiao Huang, is there any need to act like that? Take out whatever method you guys have prepared. Do you truly think we're here to watch a show of you hiding and concealing your hand?" Upon hearing Mu Chen's words, Xiao Huang's pupils finally contracted, while the vigilance on his face started to slowly dissipate away. Staring at Mu Chen, only after quite a while did he start to slowly say, "How did you sense it?" "That's because you guys aren't as strong as you think. The lot of you don't possess the qualifications to challenge us just by yourselves," replied Mu Chen in a calm voice. "Ha ha. Truly worthy of the blood calamity of the spiritual road, Mu Chen," said Xiao Huang with a sneer. Panning his head around, he stared right at Mu Chen, before saying, "Nevertheless, you truly have quite some courage, actually daring to head over even though you know that this isn't a good place to rush into." The only reply Mu Chen gave was to continue staring indifferently at Xiao Huang. Seeing Mu Chen's gaze, the smile at the corner of Xiao Huang's mouth grew somewhat chilling. With a wave of his hand, he said, "Gentlemen, since you've been discovered by him, what's the use of hiding anymore?" Hearing that, the various groups present in this region started to exchange glances with each other. "Ha ha. I originally assumed that we wouldn't have the chance to take action. Indeed worthy of the bloody calamity." While the various groups were in doubt, a faint laughing voice finally rang out from a certain location in the sky. Whoosh! Countless gazes immediately shot over, only to see spiritual light suddenly surface from a mountain peak. In the next moment, figures started to appear one after another under the gazes of everyone present. Upon spotting the faces of those figures, the faces of seemingly everyone instantly contorted as shock appeared in their eyes. Spiritual light flashed on the mountain peak as figures appeared from within. As they appeared, cries of astonishment rang out one after another within the air. Ranked 14th on the point rankings, Mo Xiu. There's also Chiu Ning of rank 15. Rank 16's Liu San, what a powerful lineup. Why did these fellows suddenly gather together? Are they all here for Mu Chen? Isn't this formation too large for this? Cries of astonishment continued to ring out across the region as quite a few people were frightened by the formation that had appeared before their eyes. That's because the 3 groups that had appeared were unexpectedly powerful groups that were currently placed on the point rankings top 16. Although they were ranked at the bottom of the rankings, the groups that were able to continue standing within the rankings round after round of elimination battles were absolutely not average nor ordinary. Upon bumping into such strong groups, ordinary groups would quietly slink away in response. Who would dare to have any conflict with them? However, from the looks of it, these 3 powerful groups present on the rankings have actually appeared at the same place. Furthermore, the person they were targeting was unexpectedly the same. Shock filled the eyes of quite a few people, while they had finally discovered whatever didn't feel quite right. The matters that had happened today seemed to all be aimed towards Mu Chen. Could it be that this fellow had provoked that many powerful groups? While cries of astonishment continued to ring out in the skies, Mu Chen's gaze had similarly shot over to the figures that had appeared on the top of the distant mountain peak. What he saw caused him to slightly narrow his eyes, as he could clearly sense how extraordinary those groups were. Looks like you're their true target for all the things you've pulled out today. Slightly narrowing her beautiful eyes as she took in the scene before her, when Qingxian turned to look towards Mu Chen, before speaking in an enthusiastic manner. Despite the changes, Mu Chen's handsome face still remained calm and collected, while a faint chilling light sparkled within his eyes. Staring at the 3 powerful groups oozing with astonishing auras, an understanding appeared within his heart. Ha ha. I'm Mo Xiu, and I come from the Fire Spiritual Academy. I've truly heard of the great name of Captain Mu Chen. Standing before the figures on the mountain peak was a youth dressed in grey robes. Smiling faintly towards Mu Chen, he cupped his hands before speaking with a laugh. Chiu Ning. Varja Spiritual Academy. A fierce-looking male that contained some malevolence on his face with a sturdy and iron tower-like body locked his gaze onto Mu Chen as he spoke. Liu San. Myriad Willow Spiritual Academy. This time, the one speaking was a rather thin and frail-looking youth. Dressed in green robes, his long sleeves fluttered about, causing him to look as if he would get blown away by the wind. However, not a single person in this region would believe that the person before their eyes truly didn't possess the strength to even truss a chicken. Mu Chen calmly looked at these three experts that radiated with astonishing auras. From the spiritual energy fluctuations radiating from the three, he could faintly discern that they were even more tyrannical than experts at first-grade spirit disaster. Truly a rare sight. Added with Captain Xiao Huang and his people, you guys have seemingly activated 4 of the top 16 groups in the point rankings, said Mu Chen in a slow manner. Ha ha. We've just been entrusted with a task by someone, replied Mo Xiu with a grin. Hearing that, the faces of quite a few groups instantly changed. Exactly what person would actually possess such a big capability to actually invite these 4 powerful groups to deal with Mu Chen? The identity of this person's absolutely extraordinary. There wasn't much change in Mu Chen's expression, yet the radiance sparkling within his eyes grew increasingly incisive. With a gentle flick of his finger, a gust of wind split the air apart, before saying in an indifferent tone, "Has that Ji Xian fellow become that gutless? It isn't easy for us to bump into each other, and now he even wants to find people to test me." Ji Xian? Upon hearing that name, shock filled the hearts of seemingly everyone. During this period of time, the name of Ji Xian had seemingly suppressed the former numero uno who had stayed there for quite a long time, Wen Qingxian. After all, everyone knew that compared to the start of the Great Spiritual Academy tournament to now, the current phase was where the battles and fights were at their most intense. Therefore, compared to the start of the competition, the numero uno now was undoubtedly worth more of its weight in gold. This was especially true due to some time ago, where Ji Xian had seemingly suppressed 3 powerful groups that were placed on the top 16 by himself. When news of this battle circulated throughout the entire Great Spiritual Academy tournament, it had caused his numero uno place to become even more solid, impregnable and unreachable by ordinary people. Therefore, when everyone present knew that the 4 powerful groups before them were actually sent by Ji Xian, a somewhat strange and peculiar look appeared in their eyes as they cast their gazes over towards Mu Chen. None of them had ever expected that Mu Chen would actually have such deep grudges and grievances with Ji Xian. "We came here on the behest of Ji Xian. Our only goal is to confirm whether you possess the qualifications to continue being his opponent, that's all there is to it." A faint smile appeared on Mo Xiu's face as he continued speaking. "If you don't, your journey should come to an end here." He said that he does not wish for such a weak you to appear before him. He truly has such a big tone. Suddenly, an ice-cold, sweet-sounding voice rang out. Everyone turned their gazes over, only to see Luo Li shooting a chilling glare towards the gathering of the 3 groups with her beautiful eyes. At this moment, a somewhat incisive chill had appeared on the absolutely beautiful appearance of the young girl. Clearly, Luo Li was truly infuriated. Although she didn't mind Ji Xian sending people to deal with Mu Chen, she was absolutely unable to tolerate Ji Xian assuming that he was on a higher pedestal than Mu Chen. During the spiritual road, Ji Xian had crossed hands many times with Mu Chen. However, when the statistics were brought out, Mu Chen had obtained more victories over Ji Xian. If not for that despicable move done by Ji Xian to infuriate Mu Chen to the point of forcing him to create that blood calamity that led to him being kicked out, the person that would have the last laugh at the end of the spiritual road might not have been Ji Xian. As Luo Li slowly clenched the Luo God sword in her hand, everyone was able to sense an extremely fierce sword intent starting to radiate from her. This sword intent appeared to slice the air apart, causing people's hearts to palpitate in response. Seeing this, the faces of Mo Xiu and the other 2 captains finally changed slightly. Focusing their gazes on Luo Li, their gazes grew much more solemn and filled with dread. The young girl with bright and resplendent silvery hair before them had caused an indescribable feeling of danger to surge within them. Ha ha. According to what I know, during the spiritual road, when Ji Xian had fought with Mu Chen, he was at a disadvantage for the majority of the time. With a sweet smile on her face, Wen Qingxian said, "Looks like he's now extremely confident with himself, huh? That's very good. I've not crossed hands with him while in the spiritual road. It seems that I have to supplement this in the Great Spiritual Academy tournament this time." Seeing these 2 girls speaking out for Mu Chen, shadows of envy and jealousy gushed from the eyes of the various groups present in this region. That's because the two girls were truthfully so outstanding that they had stirred the hearts and souls of every male present here. This was especially true for Wen Qingxian. Seemingly everyone knew about her arrogant and haughty character. Furthermore, she seemed to have a slight repulsion towards the opposite gender. Therefore, it was extremely rare for the opposite gender to be able to become her friend. However, from the looks of it, it seemed that way as she had actually spoken out for Mu Chen. In addition, from the words she had used, she did not even give the slightest bit of face to Ji Xian. Therefore, everyone could sense that the current Mu Chen was truly too fortunate. That's why he could be the target of focus. They truly are good women. At a side, Xiao Huang's eyes sparkled as took in the scene before him. Speaking with a faint smile, his voice had a ridiculing tone present within, one that was exceedingly clear and distinct. How can relying on women be considered as any ability at all? Mo Xiu and the others took the opportunity to toss their ridicule out, yet their eyes were brimming with envy and jealousy. Wrinkles started to appear on the foreheads of Mo Xiu and the other two. The dread and fear they had towards Wen Qingxian was in fact not one bit weaker than Ji Xian. After all, regardless of anything, one of them was the former numero uno, while the other was the current numero uno. They had originally assumed that due to Ji Xian's existence, even if Wen Qingxian was to have the intent to help Mu Chen, she should have some fear towards the former. However, who would have expected that the girl that had always been arrogant and haughty had now stood right by Mu Chen's side without the slightest bit of hesitation? In fact, she had not given any care of standing against a powerful opponent like Ji Xian. A faint light flashed within Mo Xiu's eyes before he turned to look at Mu Chen. At this moment, the latter had already become the focal point of everyone within this region. However, what made Mo Xiu feel shock and astonishment was that ever since the beginning till now, the handsome face of the latter remained like the tranquil surface of an ancient well, with not one bit of fluctuations present. Even after their round of rather provocative words, Mu Chen's eyes still appeared calm and collected. However, it was this sort of calmness that caused Mo Xiu to feel somewhat uneasy. At the end, he wasn't an idiot to show disdain towards Mu Chen. This was an opponent that even Ji Xian felt extreme dread and regard for. Although the latter had been kicked out of the spiritual road midway through, he still did not dare to show any neglect to him. The person before him had actually relied on his own strength to break Xiao Huang's heaven-binding array. This point was more than sufficient for them to show a thorough regard for him. Mu Chen. As of now, shouldn't you not let bystanders, especially two girls, help prop up your face, said Mo Xiu in a slow manner. Only after hearing that did Mu Chen raise his head. Casting his indifferent gaze towards Mo Xiu, something seemed to congeal within his black pupils. Finally, after quite a while, did he reply. Did you all come here on the behest of Ji Xian? He already knew the answer for his question. Therefore, without waiting for Mo Xiu and the others to reply, he gave a gentle nod of his head, before turning around to wave his hand at Luo Li and Wen Qingxian. Stare at those two fellows for me. Don't let them run away. The two he was talking about were naturally Xiao Huang and Xiao Wang. As he said those words, his gaze still remained on the figures of Mo Xiu and the other two, before starting to deeply ponder for a slight moment. For some unknown reason, despite him being in a state of pondering, it still caused a heart-palpitating feeling of suppression to quietly radiate. Slowly walking forward, Mu Chen continued to keep his gaze on Mo Xiu and the other two, before speaking out in a soft voice. Wanting to stop me from walking forward from here? That's possible, and in fact it's extremely simple. The eyebrows of the trio jumped up in response. Countless gazes within the entire region were now locked onto Mu Chen's body. Slowly extending his thin palm, Mu Chen's handsome face still remained calm and collected, yet his indifferent-sounding voice resounded like the roar of thunder, causing the hearts of everyone to shake. I just need you three to receive a move from me. This episode ends here. Thank you for watching.